G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. Alright, so today's episode is on my latest therapy appointment. Now I did mention in the previous episode, which I also have recorded this morning, in the previous episode, two major things about this episode. One is that I'm still real jittery and anxious. I'll be honest, I didn't really like how the last episode came out, but at the same time, this is raw, this is real, it's genuine, it's fair income. So you're getting me warts and all. So last episode and this episode, I'd say, will be tinged by this sort of jumpiness, which is being driven by my anxiety, which I don't know why it's around, but it is. And it was certainly around yesterday when I had my appointment with my psychologist. So, the first important thing to note really is that it was telehealth. So at the moment, my psychologist is overseas, lucky duck. But still, even though she's overseas, I think on holidays, she's still having appointments with me. So there you go. I must be really entertaining and fun. No, I don't know. Maybe she is over there for work. I'm not sure. She asked the questions, not me. But what does happen, or what did happen, was it was a telehealth appointment. So I was on the computer via Zoom, which I don't usually like doing. I don't like doing them. I don't like doing black dog presentations by Zoom either, even though that's becoming the norm. I prefer to do things in person. My psychiatrist, for example, same thing. Online, probably will never ever meet him in person. And I'm not completely sold about it, but hey, the technology allows a lot of flexibility. So for example, my therapist being in Japan is not an issue because of telehealth. Go telehealth. So anyway, it was telehealth and I was really nervous and anxious and jittery, but I somehow climbed out of bed to log in and do the episode, because I think it was one or two appointments before I wasn't able to log in because I was just too anxious. This was a week or two ago, and they still charge you money. That's the thing. Even if you're not there, if you've been booked in and you haven't cancelled within a certain time frame, you are still charged the fee, which is fair enough, but it's hard when it's the anxiety, which is why I'm having the therapy. It's the anxiety that stops me from going to therapy. But anyway, got to somehow push through that. And yesterday I did, even though I felt horrendous. So horrendous that, look, to be honest, this episode isn't going to have that much depth to it because I don't remember much of yesterday's session because I dissociated for most of it. So for most of it, I was sitting there. I knew I was talking and saying stuff. I knew I was saying, I don't know. I was saying, there's no recording of this, but it would be funny to hear because I'm sure I just kept going, I don't know. It feels like this, but I don't know, over and over again. And I was really pressing the point that I did not know. And in that time, in that moment, when I'm trying to be steady and trying to come up with the best way to describe how I'm feeling, I don't know came up a lot. And it's because I didn't, because these anxiety attacks, I just do not know what the go is with them, whether it's, physical, mental, like psychological, or if it's an imbalance of something, I don't know. Something I've eaten or not eaten, or drank or not drank, not sure. But anyway, I was really, really stressed for this appointment and I disassociated for most of it. I almost missed it because I was in bed, as I was for the last 3 days. I was in bed and I thought, oh no, I've got this not black dog presentation, although I did and I wasn't able to do that one, unfortunately. I've got this psychology appointment. I wonder what time it is, thinking it's in the afternoon. So I checked my phone at 20 to 10 and it said 10 a.m. So without thinking, which maybe is a little hint of why I should do that more, without thinking, I jumped on the computer and got stuck into the therapy session. So I mentioned about the anxiety sort of attack that was going on. But we spoke a lot about validation and the need for validation, which is a huge part of many people's stories. It certainly is for me. And we've been trying to figure out why it is I have this real low opinion of myself and my abilities. So we're trying to unravel that, and validation seems to have a big part in this, a big part. So, don't know. Everybody, please keep telling me this podcast is good because then I am validated and I feel better. I'm only half joking. But yes, the validation we spoke about, mostly in the work setting, why it is I have this belief that I'm so inept and incompetent, which I do. That belief had started to be loosened a little bit over the last few weeks, which is great. But then this anxiety attack put it front and center again, which is not so great. So we went through that. We talked about the validation in the workplace, why I've got that negative schema belief of myself that I'm incompetent. And then we asked the parts of me within, so internal family systems, the parts within that are driving that message. And it came out that it's this perfectionist workaholic part of mine, which I need to name because this bloke keeps coming up and up. So I should name him. A bit like my 16-year-old that's the loose cannon. I need to come up with something smart, something witty for this perfectionistic workaholic. Because this bloke just says, Elliot, we're behind the 8 ball. We just got to go, go, go. And it could be that way of thinking which has caused the sleeping the last 3 days and staying in bed and being petrified about the real world. Because, I don't know, it's like I push and push and push and then just collapse and everything's turned off, shut down, and we just go within ourselves. I don't know. Because last week was a pretty busy week. You know, had a fair bit on, had work, the 5 a.m. starts, had some uni stuff I was doing, got an interview done, which is pretty cool, which will be coming out soon, hopefully, on social media. Check out my Instagram account at elliot.t.waters for more. So, you know, there's a bit going on and it's pretty hard when you get terrible sleep, but you just got to keep on pushing, and keep on pushing I did. So, yes, so therapy, I'm glad I did it because I did feel a bit better after. I knew I'd achieved something. Got that in the bag, and, you know, that's something to sort of lean on or use as a foundation for the rest of the day. So that was pretty good. The issue is I don't remember much of what I was saying because I was disassociating. I remember I was looking at myself from a third-person point of view, and I remember thinking, geez, I hope I'm making sense. But like I said, I did a lot of I don't knows, which... Look, I don't know, but I don't know how often I had to say that before that point was made clear. But anyway, that's just probably that inner critic talking again. It was really difficult, though. It was really hard because of this anxiety. Like during it, you know, I'm shaking, I'm trembling. I couldn't look at the computer screen properly because, I don't know, I just felt really anxious whenever I'd look at her in the screen. Again, nothing to do with her. It's all about, you know, what's going on inside for me. But yeah, really anxious, sweating a lot, like real bad. And I kept having these thoughts like, oh no, I'm about to crumble, you know, watch out. I'm about to fall apart. Here we go. And I was getting very red in the face. I was sweating a little bit. And I certainly felt like I was under the pump. Halfway through, I had to have a break to get some water and just get away from it for 5 minutes and just sort of try and chill out and calm down. Did some box breathing, 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4, etc., etc. And then I could finish it off. But the whole time I'm clock watching. You know, the whole time I'm looking at the clock going, come on, 20 minutes left, Elliot. It's all we got, 20 minutes. Oh, we got 10 minutes. This is so hard, but we're getting there, 10 minutes. And that isn't really the thoughts you want to be having during therapy. You want to be concentrating on what you're actually talking about with your therapist. So, but unfortunately, I was preoccupied because I was so goddamn anxious. Oh, it was terrible. It was so hard, but I did it. And I was very proud of myself that I was able to go through the hour and keep going and talk about how I feel, even though I didn't know much about how I was feeling. It was really, you know, it was a great result. Very happy with that. But it's really frustrating that it had to happen in that way. Really frustrating. So, you know, these anxiety attacks, they still keep on keeping on. But at the same time, although it did stop me from having a Black Dog Institute presentation later that day, unfortunately I had to pull out because I was just way too in the hole. I was under about 5 layers at this point in bed. But the day wasn't completely lost because I did have that therapy session. And today, the day after, I'm still feeling pretty good because I achieved something yesterday, something of note, something that's worthy, you know, something that's very much a part of my recovery journey. So that's great. I just hope next time I'm not disassociating so much and I can remember more of what I was actually saying, because I'm sure it would have been absolute gold. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening. You can follow me on Instagram at elliot.t.waters. And until next time, thank you for listening to the Dysregulated Podcast.